What do you do when boredom strikes? Let's talk about that. Folks, welcome to the Baseball Brewhaha. We're back after a 1 week hiatus. Um, I don't I'll be honest, Adam. We were having a conversation, and sometimes you go through life, and you're like, I don't know, boredom strikes, and if you have children, then that this situation. So, Adam, what do you do when boredom strikes?
Well, I first want to say that saying that boredom strikes is in itself pretty exciting and not how I would describe the sort of like malaise
Why
that
did okay?
slowly descends.
Why did you say? Okay, let's unpack that you said is exciting.
No, I was saying your phrasing of boredom strikes is sort of like
Okay.
it's like waiting, like, "Pah, I gotcha,"
It pounced upon you.
Right. That's not how it goes. It's
Hmm.
almost like the fading away of excitement
Hmm.
into this like in between stage when you're
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
between things, and like we often talk about parallels between life and baseball.
Yeah.
This
Hmm.
is one of those, I think, like where it's like there's the excitement, the buildup of the pitch, and then there's the pitch, and then there's the swing, and then hit or not or whatever. And then there's the in between, right? The
Hmm.
little time in between the next pitch or the next set of action that's going to happen. And with the addition of the pitch clock, I think there's a little bit less of this, but prior to the pitch clock,
Hmm.
there are a whole lot of people who say baseball is boring
Yeah.
and point to that the down times in between as evidence for the
Hmm.
boredom of baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I was just thinking that same thing. It's like you could have two people. You could go to a game, like a kind of a somebody who follows the game and somebody who's maybe like hasn't been introduced to the game much, or they generally would consider themselves sort of somewhat disinterested in baseball, and they have completely different experiences, especially with that in between time. And I find that interesting, the in between time, because I've started to um, if any of you parents can relate to this, but I have one child in particular that they'll be doing something, and then, like you said, it stops, and so you're in the in between period. And do you know what the default response is? Do you have a guess?
Well, I know what mine is, but what's so I'm gonna guess yours is.
For this one person, one of my kids.
Well, the thing that came to mind is probably not what you say. What came to mind was,
No, what they say when
oh,
they're
what they say.
yes. Yeah.
Daddy, I'm bored.
No. So that does happen. But the phrase that I've had to retranslate to that is I'm hungry.
Oh yes,
it's, it's,
yeah,
I'm just like, I think you're bored hungry. You need to
yeah.
go find something to do. So, do you get bored? Do you get that bored hungry?
In our house, yes. Not everybody, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I have a phrase that I don't use very much because my kids haven't, but I learned it from you. But what do you say when the look on your face? What do you say when boredom strikes?
My typical go-to is something along the lines of, um,
Research
I'm
shows.
yeah. There's the research. I got a couple of them. Um, we can go. We can go anywhere. One quote could be, only boring people get bored. Um,
Wow, that
I
cuts.
have I haven't I have not I have not unleashed that on the children, but that is a
I was
quote.
gonna
That
say,
is a quote that I've heard once.
how does a 12-year-old little ego handle that?
No, but my typical go-to is, something like, I'm so excited to see what you come up with next, or something like, boredom
Hmm.
is the birthplace of creativity.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't. I don't know. I kind of do more deflecting. You know, my kids. I mean, more than anything, but um, I have been trying to think about because I feel like I've been analyzing the way I think about things. Not as I don't really get bored that much. It's like I don't know. I got things to think about. I can always pick up a shoe. I got something to do. Um, but I've been trying to retrain, or just analyze the way I think about things. And try to. We do this especially with the. This isn't so much boredom, but it's the whole. No, I hate school. I hate man. I hate that. You know what I mean? That's just standard. And so we started going into like you saying like us saying that we hate something is completely a choice. Like
Hmm.
you do not have to hate things. Like you could choose to not hate that thing. So I've been going on a journey myself in order to prove to them that that is accurate. And um, so I've been working on that myself. Um, but I feel like the I hate thing is related to the I'm bored because they're like anticipating something that they're like, oh, that's boring. I don't want to go do that thing. Do you feel like that's an act like some not that is that a big leap or am I in the neighborhood?
They can definitely be related. Sometimes it has to do with like an experience they've had. Um,
But like school,
mhm,
like I mean my kids haven't. I mean they don't get bullied and they have bad days and I mean they're normal
mhm,
kids, but it's not like they're going to school every day and getting bullied or something.
yeah.
So.
I mean, when I remember when we went to school,
Hmm.
I didn't wake up every day like, man, I'm sure glad I get to go to school today.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I get that, but then I think back now, like, and as a younger kid, this is a little harder, but I've started having these in the light of kind of changing how I think about things is like talking to them about like, is there something school related or not that you are really excited about? So like one of my kids, it's a little easier because there's a part of her math curriculum that she's really excited to get to. So it's kind of like, okay, if you could focus on like, oh, today's another day I get to move closer to that goal, like that's easier. One of my other kids, he's kind of like he's he's interested in writing, doing some stories, and you know how things go, they kind of wax and wane a little bit. And so we're trying to have the conversation about like when you go to school and you do writing or grammar, like all these things, those help you become a better writer. And being at school, you actually get focused time to write and to work on your writing. So, trying to help just reshape that so that school is almost like approaching it of, well, we have to go, but how can I sort of take charge of the school experience rather than the school experience taking charge of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the approach of like how much control or not that I have over my situation or my feeling
Mm-hmm.
makes a big difference. It does, and I think like to bring this back to sort of this experience of baseball, of the in between times, or even the parts of
Yep.
baseball that maybe we don't like, like I got out. You get out a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
just like part of it. But how do you frame that? How do you think about, like, as a fan? There are people who go to baseball games and love the in between.
Mm-hmm.
And part of
Mm-hmm.
that has to do maybe with the social aspect of it. Part of it has to do maybe with the strategy, like where's the third baseman going to move and set up for this next batter or whatever. Um, but those people are making that choice and taking it upon themselves to reframe it or to look for something, um,
Mm-hmm.
to create a little interest or to be creative in their own way about how do I enjoy this. And realistically, like, we can't be at sort of like peak excitement all the time. That's just not realistic, and it
Mm-hmm.
would never happen that way psychologically. At some point you would, like, you just, like, that doesn't, your brain doesn't operate that way. So
Mm-hmm.
um uh so it's sort of like coming to a place of understanding yourself and your brain, and how to like, maybe just like you're saying, I think, like what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
like to think differently.
Yeah, it's like thinking about what you're thinking about, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I think there's a part of, sometimes I encourage my kids just to like sit in the boredom, just like be okay with being bored. It's not going to be here long. Like, you're going
Hmm.
to find something to do, and sometimes it gets prolonged. And I understand that for some kids that's tough, real tough. Like, they're, you know, my wife and I were reading a thing that for kids that have like ADHD and things like that, um, that being bored to them is like the way you feel like when you really have to pee. Like, that's how that's their, like, mentally they're like, like, I have to pee, I have to pee. um and so trying to help navigate that and just like find things that are sort of, you know, calming things in those in between.
Hmm.
But yeah, thinking about what you're thinking about, and like, even for me, there's times when I don't get bored very often, but there are times when I find myself just like, okay, I'm gonna just have to sit in this for a minute and kind of like be okay with the lack of stimulus.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So anyway, well, it's been a fun conversation. I feel like, in the interest of boredom, well, not combating boredom, one of the key ways is to open a pack of baseball cards.
Yeah.
So,
It's right there in the annals of psychology research. Open a pack of
mhm,
cards.
yep, exactly. So, question, I have one here, but I opened last time. So, you have one ready?
Yeah, I got one ready. All right, Aaron. Yes. So I picked an exciting one. We got Pinnacle 96.
Okay.
Pinnacle was always a little bit of a fancier pack to us when we were kids. It's
Mm-hmm.
a score brand
Mm-hmm.
from mid 90s. Here we go. Look at that. Fresh rip. Mm. Mm.
Smell.
Smell the
I'll
gloss.
take you back. I'll take you back.
Okay. Okay. We're going to start with some fun stuff. I don't remember this. We got a little like shiny,
Mhm.
shiny kind of like
Oh
prismy
yeah, I do.
thing
I do see
happening
that.
there. Johnny Damon rookie card right there. How fun is
Wow,
that?
that's
A
nice.
little shine to it there. Okay. Mark Langston.
Hmm.
Like it. I like it. Okay. I'm liking where this is going so far. Mo Vaughn, the Naturals.
Wow. Okay.
I'm digging it. Okay. Here we go. Curing my boredom as we speak. Phil Nevin.
It's a nice on deck swing.
Look at this one. Okay. This one's interesting. Brian
Mhm.
McRae. But what stands out to you there about Brian McRae's card?
What is that? I mean, it says
Look at,
B McCrae.
yeah, look at
Yeah,
that. Every other card has their full name. His says
it couldn't
B.
be.
McRae. Come on now. Oh, okay. We got a trend going. It's the sideways cards.
This so we go.
We got B. McDonald going there. Interesting,
96. Really? Okay.
interesting design choice.
Hmm.
Okay. Andy Bennis.
Oh,
95,
Mariners.
95 Mariners
Boy,
legend.
there's not a lot of Andy Bennis Mariners cards out there because he was with them for such a short time.
Yeah. Yeah. Hall of Famer Dave Winfield.
D Winfield, to be correct.
Wasn't there a
Is
story about him not playing for the Indians?
I have to look it up because he
What's the
got.
one with the he had traded for a
Oh,
steak or something?
that was from '94. So I
Okay.
mean, these would be '95. So anyway, yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Carl Everett. We're gonna finish up with Jeff Kent.
Mm, it's a very school photo esque right there.
Yeah, that's spring training for sure.
Yeah, is that like the white T-shirt under the Mets spring
He
training jersey?
absolutely does.
Boy, that if that doesn't scream '90s, the white T-shirts not just under but sticking out
Yeah.
of all of the sleeves and the neck and the whole thing.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So
That was fun.
that was fun. Got some fun cards in there. Nice. Um, yeah. So anyway, if you have boredom in your own life, our recommendation is that you open some baseball cards. Now,
Hmm.
there's lots of. I mean, we were just looking at the imagery, but on the back, you've got all kinds of reading material.
Oh yeah.
You got stats to figure out. You could put together your own lineups. I mean, the options are endless. I mean, I don't think there's enough time for Adam and I to discuss the number of things we did with baseball cards. So I
Was
just
it
want
is it maybe too early to share a new thing that we came up with cards and packs last year around this time
to. Mhm.
we ripped packs and used those cards to develop fantasy baseball teams.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that was fun. That was fun.
That was fun. It's sort of in the works. It's kind of maybe yet to be determined if it's going to be a public event like it
Hmm.
was last year.
Yeah.
Um, we got lots of feedback, and by lots I mean one person saying that they didn't understand it, and that was sufficient for us to kind
Mhm.
of start to shut her down. So it's you know so fantasy baseball. If you don't know what that is, um, you
You've
pick.
got yourself something to do when you're bored.
Yeah, you do. You just put together a team. You follow them. Boy, I mean, if you don't know much about this stuff right now, this is none of this makes any sense. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it right now.
Well, you don't have to. The way you can explain it is as a cure for boredom. Just go research it.
Go research. ESPN.com is very easy to use, so you can do it there. If you're into that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's basically you're picking your team and you get some players, stats. It's a fun time if you're into that kind of thing. If you're not, you're going to get real bored real quick. And we've come full circle. And so now it's time for us to sign off. Folks.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.